While some have described it as a new day dawning in Afghanistan, others have said the same Afghanistan from 20 years ago is about to reemerge with an emboldened and stronger Taliban that has greater access to weapons and technology that we supplied. There is fear, confusion, and anger as the sun rises on Tuesday morning in Kabul. And now so many questions about how the Taliban was able to take over the entire country and this quickly. Stunning scenes at Kabul's airport today. Residents so desperate to leave, they are risking it all, including their lives in some cases, running after a U.S. military plane, pleading for a way out. Tonight, our team on the ground confirms the Taliban now controls the one road to the airport, and they are allowing foreign nationals, but not Afghans, to leave. And the thousands who are trying to escape, in many cases, are the people who helped Americans while we were there for the past 2 decades. One of them telling ABC News tonight, "If I stay here, they will slaughter me." President Biden addressing the nation this afternoon, calling the scenes gut-wrenching, but said he stands squarely behind his decision to pull out U.S. troops from the country. Our Ian Panel leads us off tonight, bravely reporting in from the ground in Kabul.
Panic, chaos and fear, the hallmarks of the Taliban's conquest of Kabul, Afghanistan's capital and what was the last government stronghold. America's emergency evacuation triggering panic as desperate civilians rush to the airport in fear for their lives. It's an image that'll stand as a tragic testimony to America's hasty departure. Crowds mobbing the tarmac, so desperate, some clinging for life or death to the departing planes. The pilots put in an unthinkable position. U.S. officials saying at least 3 people were run over and killed by the tires. Local reports saying people could be seen falling from the plane as it departed. The U.S. military temporarily suspending air operations to clear civilians flooding into the U.S. military-controlled zone, killing at least 2 armed men in the process. After nearly 20 years of conflict, the speed at which the US-backed forces collapsed has been breathtaking. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani, one of the first to flee the country he vowed to protect, claiming in a Facebook post he wanted to save Kabul from bloodshed. Just hours later, this footage from Al Jazeera showing Taliban fighters inside his presidential palace declaring the restoration of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. All this marking the stunning climax of the militants' dramatic takeover. Taliban forces now in charge of the capital and most of the country, effectively ending the nation's experiment with liberal democracy.
Thanks to our military and our allies and the brave fighters of Afghanistan, the Taliban regime is coming to an end.
Former President Bush's words ring hollow as billowing smoke rises from the U.S. Embassy, sensitive documents destroyed, helicopters ferrying staff from the country, an eerie echo of the fall of Saigon.
This is manifestly not Saigon. The fact of the matter is this. We went to Afghanistan 20 years ago with one mission in mind, and that was to deal with the people who attacked us on 9/11. And that mission has been successful.
The Biden administration defending the U.S. withdrawal from the country, but clearly caught totally off guard by the Taliban's rapid advance. The U.S. sending 6,000 troops to hasten the emergency evacuation of embassy staff and thousands of Afghans who worked for the U.S. mission. Today, armed checkpoints dot the city. The Taliban reportedly stopping locals from reaching the airport now, only allowing the foreigners to pass. Just 5 weeks ago, President Biden proclaiming he wouldn't let this war reach a 5th president, adamant this wouldn't happen.
The likelihood there's going to be the Taliban overrunning everything and owning the whole country is highly unlikely.
But the worst predictions for Afghanistan's future coming true, faster than anyone imagined. In less than 3 months, the Taliban capturing nearly every major district outside Kabul. And on the streets of the capital, fear and despair. Long lines this weekend as residents scramble to withdraw their life savings from banks with dwindling funds. And a desperate crush at the Pakistan border crossing as more people try to flee. But for those left behind, the women and girls in particular, Their once bright futures now seem bleak. In the last 20 years, there have been some major gains for women. Female enrollment in secondary schools grew from just 6% in 2003 to 39% in 2017. And women's life expectancy grew from just 56 years in 2001 to 66 in 2017. All of that progress now at risk.
I have never felt it to this extent, helpless, hopeless, disappointed, poor and miserable in my life. All our 20 years achievement maybe just go in blinks of few days.
Reports already flooding in of retaliation against women. This displaced schoolteacher says she watched girls being lashed by the Taliban just for wearing sandals. Yet Miriam here, still defiant.
I'm not afraid of them. We are not the people who will, go back to the dark era. I'm a girl and I don't care about anyone. But what should I be scared of? This is my homeland, my land.
But her land, this country, now under Taliban rule. This is our first time out onto the streets of Kabul since the Taliban came in and came to power. There are people out, there is traffic, there are pedestrians. But noticeably, we've been driving for 5 minutes now and I haven't seen one woman out on the streets. We've just come to an empty shopping mall and what looks like an empty restaurant, but we've been told there's a Taliban commander here. He's ready to meet us and face some questions about what's happened. What is your message to the people of Afghanistan, to the women and girls who are worried, but also to the Americans who are now leaving?
My message to them is that they should not be frightened of us. We are the sons of the same sword, brothers. My message to foreigners is they can see our history. They will not be able to beat us. This land will be standing free.
Tonight, the streets eerily silent. A quiet desperation has taken hold as Afghans wait in fear to see what future awaits them. After 20 years of war, costing trillions of dollars and tens of thousands of lives, many are questioning tonight, what was this all for?
Such harrowing scenes and realities there on the ground. Ian Pannell joins us now. Ian, what's the security situation like right now with the Taliban in control? Are there any concerns that the situation near the airport could turn violent with those checkpoints so close?
Yeah, Lindsay, I mean, this is really a tale of two cities, if you like. I mean, here in the main part of Kabul, where we're based, the Taliban are in control. We went out today, as you saw in my report, we saw Taliban manning checkpoints, heavily armed fighters driving around the town in pickup trucks, in Humvees. One of the most striking things that we didn't see was any women out on the streets. Now, one of my colleagues also went out. He said he did see a few odd women, many of them wearing the burqa, but I was struck, having been to the country many times, lived here for 2 years, seeing not a single woman out on the street. But it is calm. The Taliban have actually come here to our hotel. They've asked the security guards to leave. They said there's no need for them to be there anymore. They have now taken over control, not just of here, but of everywhere else. The other city is the chaos, the panic, the desperation that you're seeing down at the airport. Now, there's obviously a concerted attempt to try and resolve this situation. That's why the airport was closed for so long, because there were so many people on the tarmac. There was a lot of debris there. We think they've now managed to clear the people away, try and contain the situation. They've cleared away the debris, and I can already hear the sound of aircraft back up into the skies. But here's the problem. There's only one route into the airport, and at the moment there's a Taliban checkpoint there, and we're hearing they're only letting foreigners through. And when President Biden talks about the thousands of special immigrant visa applicants, these are people who risk their lives to help our mission here in Afghanistan, many of them afraid now to leave their houses because, of course, it's the Taliban that they're running away from, and even if they do, there's now a question about whether or not they can get back to the airport. We should not see the same chaotic scenes. This is going to be a true test when day breaks tomorrow, whether or not the situation's back under control.
Ian, we're running out of time, but I just want to ask you simply, do you feel safe?
Yes, I do. I mean, this is a weird thing. The Taliban came in, we had this bizarre moment where they wanted to take selfies, and they're joking and they're laughing and saying, please don't worry, foreigners are welcome, we want relations with the neighboring countries. The thing about the Taliban is they have a very, very different worldview. They see the world differently to us. A lot of them are very sort of simple, have a country, traditional Islamist view, and therefore, so they feel that they can provide security, that we don't need to worry. And the truth is, I think many Afghans will feel much safer. The turmoil that we've seen over the last 20 years, much of that will now be settled, but unfortunately the oppression that we saw before will return. Lindsay.
Ian, panel, stay safe out there. Our thanks to you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.